Okay folks, it's time to talk about Joe DeRosa. Now before he was born, his father, David Rosa, converted to living a traditional Amish lifestyle. And this is why most people foolishly mispronounce Joda's name. So growing up as a traditional Amish in Pennsylvania, young Joda knew nothing of the modern world all around him. But if you know anything about the Amish, you've probably heard of their tradition of Rumspringa, a rite of passage where teens are allowed to go off and explore the outside world. And while Joda was at first reluctant to embark on this journey, his father explained to him that the Rosas actually came from the outside world and there was nothing to fear. Well, this pep talk might have worked too well, because as soon as Joda experienced the pleasures of the modern world, he had no intent of going back. And it's rumored that during this wild time period, he even tried eating human feces. And while it is rare for people living traditional or isolated lifestyles to convert to modernity, it's not unheard of. And while living in the secular world, Joda found solace in the form of a film known as Cadet Kelly. He could relate to Hilary Duff's character just wanting to be herself in a rigid world controlled by Christy Carlson Romano. And after watching the Hilary Duff smash hit Raise Your Voice, Joda was inspired to create music of his own, developing a wild character known as Muck Sticky. Now, though Joda's passion was sincere, his talent was abysmal. And with very few influences to draw from, he made some of the most unlistenable rap music ever created. So by the early 2000s, Joda has gone from a traditional Amish lad to being a viral joke, with even Craig Ferguson taking aim at Joda's rhymes. And at that time in the comedy world, if Craig Ferguson didn't like you were sunk. He was, for all intents and purposes, the Johnny Carson of that era. But surprisingly, this all backfired when a comedian approached Joda to form a new intentional comedy rap duo known as The Deep. This is where everything changed for Joda. Working in this field of comedy, he could see things others couldn't. It was like a matrix of jokes that Joda's years of isolation helped him see through. He learned the most important principle in comedy that usually takes comedians decades to master: the sacred geometry and perfect math. Talking on a microphone plus sex equals laugh. And eventually he ditched the musical element and pivoted to more traditional sex-based stand-up. And though Joda might seem like a regular member of the old 250, I found out the sinister truth that he's been hiding. You see, Joda is certainly known for his comedian behavior, aka jacking off the penises of trans women. But after doing some research into his sect of traditional Amish culture, I spotted something no one else has. You see, according to their belief system, to officially leave the community, you have to go through a removal ceremony where you literally sign away your former self. While looking through their records, I noticed Joda never went through this ceremony, rendering him technically still on Rumspringa. Then I did some research into his so-called sandwich shop and learned all their butchered meat is procured from Amish farmers. Finally, it all made sense. You see, according to the Amish sect Joda grew up in, you're supposed to proselytize and bring in new members, much like his father was brought in back in 1979. And they also follow the practice of communal conversion, in the form of ingesting meats that have been blessed by elders. So this whole time, Joda has been secretly converting unknowing citizens into traditional Amish without consent. And if he's not stopped, the entirety of the world will slowly be converted into traditional Amish. There's plenty more strange things about this guy, like how the Canadian band of brothers, the Moffats, have had a restraining order on Joda since the year 2004, or his ongoing feud with Solange Knowles, but we'll have to save that for another time. Until then, Joe DeRosa, you're a total bitch. Okay everyone, if you're keeping up, we're in North Korea, but the contagion known as the Macarena has spread throughout the country. I remembered back to when the Macarena first hit America and recalled it took about a year for people to stop doing the dance. These North Koreans were as good as dead. We had to move. We made our way to one of their military facilities and found an armed nuke. This might be the only way to take out the Austin axis of evil for good, if only we can figure out how to aim this thing. TB Nation, wish us luck.